Okay, hello everybody, welcome back. I hope I'm live and you guys can hear me clearly. Just 1 second, let me check if I'm live and then we'll get started. Okay, great. So perfect, I'm live and let's get started with this session. So this session is the next lecture on Advanced JavaScript, which is part 3, and we are going to introduce you to some of the advanced topics again in this session as well. We are going to see a lot of new topics in this session. Um, I will be telling about it more in detail when we will start the lecture. But right now, just saying, I have taken one of the session Advanced JavaScript Part 2 just today itself at 4 p.m. So if you have not watched it, go ahead and watch it because this will be related to that session, right? So if you guys have not seen that session, go ahead and watch it because that will be of really a help for you guys, right? And you must have seen that in these sessions, we are closely understanding JavaScript in more detail, right? So please understand that there are 5 parts which I'm coming up with in Advanced JavaScript. Already 2 are done. This is the third one which we'll be doing. And I'm coming up with tomorrow, which is the 4th one, and day after tomorrow, which is the 5th one, right? And then we are going to complete JavaScript. Then a JavaScript interview question will come, and also JavaScript mixed projects session will also come, right? So because we have not done a lot of projects around JavaScript, so we are going to create some games and all. We are going to create some web pages which will have JavaScript and it's working. So we'll try to do that as well. And to create those projects, we need to learn some things in today's session because something which I'll be teaching you today is related to all of the projects. It is used in most of the projects and all. So that's what we are going to learn. And I hope you will like this session. Okay, so let's get started. Now, if you guys do not know what is happening, so if you guys are new here and you do not know what is going on here, let me tell you about it. Basically, we are CodeBeyond by Unacademy and we are providing a free course content on different languages. And this is the front end playlist which I am taking, right? And I'll introduce myself soon enough. But before that, I'm just trying to explain that this is the 65th lesson number in which we are studying Advanced JavaScript. HTML and CSS is already over and we have already completed interview questions and projects based on that. It's just that the JavaScript is left and we are in a hurry to complete this so that we can move ahead and give you more content on Bootstrap and other frameworks and all, right? React and all. So soon we are going to come up with that as well because you guys have asked for a lot of things and that's what I'm trying to cover it up and it's taking time. Okay, so if you do not know about me, then let me introduce myself. My name is Ritwik Raj and I'm a corporate trainer. I've also worked as subject matter expert and a research analyst in most of the edtech companies. I have 3+ years of teaching experience and I've trained graduates and corporate employees. And I've trained more than 30 students till now. It is increasing day by day. Okay, subjects which I take is mostly into front-end development, back-end development, database languages. Please do let me know if you want me to take any of these languages, right? I am taking front-end. If you want me to take any of the database like SQL or MongoDB or Oracle or maybe from back-end any particular language, give it to me and I will be able to explain it in a much more better way in a new playlist, right? Also, I'll be coming up with tips and tricks to how to crack interviews, which will be non-technical, 1 hour or 1.5 hour session in which we are going to just interact with each other and we are going to understand how these interviews can be cracked, how you have to prepare yourself and what all are the easy methods to actually give a very good impression in front of the interview, right? And tomorrow I have one first session on this interview preparations. So tomorrow, I think at 9 p.m. I'll be coming live for interview guidelines, tips and tricks. Yeah, it's 9 p.m. At what time I'll be coming. So be there and this will be a very interactive session. I want more number of people to join there so that you can ask a lot of questions to me, right? And also you can use my code RIT10 to get a free level sample test paper. If you do not know about Relevel, don't worry. In just 1 minute, I'm going to speak about Relevel and you'll be able to get to know what is this thing. But if somebody who is knowing about Relevel and is preparing for it, then there's a good news for you that you can get a free level sample test paper by using this code, right? So just use this code and you'll get a sample test paper, which will give you an idea which kind of questions can be asked in the actual test, right? Now, if you do not know about Relevel, then let me just introduce it to you. I'll just explain what is it, okay? Hi, Sumu. Is it required to learn modern JavaScript? Somu, if you're a beginner, most of the beginners do learn advanced JavaScript because it is important. Once you'll become a backend developer or a front-end developer in most of the MNC companies right now, uh, the interview questions which is asked around JavaScript is from advanced or modern JavaScript, okay? Like closures and these all topics which I'm taking right now. So most of the questions are being asked from there for freshers also. Earlier it was not like that. Earlier to freshers only basic things were asked, and these questions were event loop and all were asked to seniors like the experienced people. But nowadays, I don't know how this thing changed, but for freshers also these things are getting asked to them, right? And that's a very good thing because see, it's a very simple logic. If you are going for a bigger company who is paying you much more, then they will ask you a lot of questions which you will not be knowing. They'll make your interview tough, right? But if you're going for a 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs job and it's just a startup or just a normal MNC company, then obviously they're going to ask you very easy questions so that you get placed, correct? So if you want to get hired into product based company and a very big company, so in that case you have to learn a lot and you have to be ready for it, right? So think about this and then try to find out whether you need modern JavaScript or not, correct? Let's talk about Relevel. Okay, let me just introduce it to you, whoever doesn't know about it. So basically this Relevel come up with an idea and a reason. So let me just speak about it. So now many times candidates miss out on great opportunities due to multiple reasons, okay? And reasons can be anything. Now the first reason which can be there is maybe the candidate has done BSc, BCom or BCA and they want to move into IT field, right? They have the skills, they know all the coding languages, but still they are not being able to move to IT companies because companies are rejecting their resumes as they are looking into their degrees and it is not engineering, right? Most of the engineering people also face this problem that they are applying to 50-60 companies, but they are being rejected because of their college, right? They are from tier 3 college and most of the MNC companies want people or students from tier 1 or tier 2, correct? So that's some of the reasons which are making many people do not go and attempt the interviews and getting hired, right? So that's why we are introducing Relevel. It is India's first test hiring platform by Unacademy, which is helping job seekers to find their dream jobs only on the basis of their skill and talent. So if you have the skill and talent, you will be able to get interviewed and get hired. We are not going to ask you what is the college name or what is your degree, okay? So that's a good thing about Relevel and that's the main goal about Relevel. And now let's talk about the benefits of it. So basically this, how we are going to judge on whether you're skilled enough or you're talented enough. So basically you're going to attempt a test for free, right? And this test will be given via you on a single day of your choice, right? And also this test will be of 1,000 marks. You have to score more than 700 to get eligible for the profile, which will be shared with over 50 plus companies, including top startups and unicorns, over 1,000 plus job positions across business development, front development, backend development, so that you will get an opportunity and you will get interviewed and getting hired, right? So with Relevel, you're in a unique position to invite interest from companies instead of hunting for opportunities on your own, right? Now that we have understood what is Relevel, we have understood how and what Relevel does for us, what are the benefits. Now let's talk about how to register yourself, right? Because that is the most important thing. So if you look in the description, you'll get a link there for Relevel. If you click on it, it'll take you to the relevel.com website. Now there you will be able to see the register button where it asks for a mobile number. So give that and give an OTP. After that, you'll be able to see this particular page. We have to select the test of your choice. So based on your skill set, you have to select the test of your choice and then you have to book a slot when you want to give the level test, right? Slots are limited, so I suggest you to book it fast. And you can use the promo code just right here and click on apply and then click on create account after filling on all the details for the admit card, right? Once you give the coupon code, remember that it is RIT10, and once you click on apply and create account, you will get your account page with the sample paper inside it, right? So remember that if you're not using any coupon code, you won't be able to get the sample paper, okay? So once you do this, you will be able to get an idea on how the questions will be asked and what pattern will be there, how many questions will be there, from which particular topic which questions will be there, and these all kind of information you'll get from the sample paper, right? So if you've already registered, then all the best. If you have not done it, then go ahead and do it, because slots are limited, as I have already told you. And also, if you are not ready for the test, let's say that you're waiting, you're not skilled enough, and you're just afraid of the test, then do one thing: go ahead and check out the playlist which is given by CodeBeyond. There are a lot of live sessions which is going on, and a lot of educators are teaching different domains of technical knowledges, right? Technical languages. So there's a DSA going on, CP going on, lead code questions getting solved, and front end, back end, Python, SQL. There are a lot of things which is going on. So go ahead and upskill yourself in 1 month, and then when you're ready, come back and register for it directly, right? So that's all about Relevel, and please join the Telegram channel as well. The Telegram channel link is given in the description, and once you click on the link, why you need to join the Telegram channel? Because you'll get all the notifications and update in the Telegram app as well. You will be able to get an understanding when a particular educator is coming live with what topic at what time, correct? Also, please do subscribe the YouTube channel which is CodeBeyond, so that you will get a notifications in the YouTube app as well. And please like and share. Once you like and share with your relatives and other people, it will be really good, because other people will also get to know about this free course content, right? So let's get started with today's topic, and let's get understand what is promises, because earlier we have seen about all the event loops and callback queue, and multitask queues, and many other things, right? And also, before understanding promises, I wanted to show you something else also. So let's understand what is that. One second. I think you can't see anything, right? One second, guys. Okay, what about now? Yeah, perfect. So let's get started. Now, I hope you remember that we have done this coding in our evening session, and we understood about a lot of things. We have understood about how this call stack works, how this GC works, global execution context, and how this set timeout is different from fetch. Why is it different? What is callback queue? What is microtask queue? What is event loop? What is starvation of the callback queue? What is who has been given highest priority, whether microtask or callback, right? What is these APIs, right? What is a window object? What is JS engine? And where is it stored? What is it storing? All of these things we have understood in our previous session, right? But I just forgot to mention two more things about in this session. So basically, first thing, that see, I told you that in any browser there will be a JS engine, right? And if the JS engine is not there, then you're not going to be able to run any of the JavaScript code in your browser, correct? Even a particular link, a URL also you won't be able to open, right? That's what I've told you. So a browser is there, and then inside this browser we have JS engine, and inside this JS engine we have all the other things, right? Like call stack and all the window object, and then there's GC and all these memory code. All these things are stored here, and that's how your JS works. This is the internal picture of JS engine, correct? But a browser also needs one more thing, right? So this browser is also called as JS runtime environment. Right now, this keyword is very important, because people do get confused between JRE and JavaScript runtime environment. JRE is basically Java runtime environment, which is used in Java programming language to give a particular environment where you can run your Java programming language, right? A code of Java. So once you run that code in that runtime environment, then only it will be giving you the output. If you do not have the GRE, then your Java code will not run, correct? So in the same way, we have browser do also provide JavaScript runtime environment where a JavaScript code can run, right? Uh, so this feature, this environment, only browser can provide, and that's why I wanted to mention this, because many times in interview, a person can ask like, what is a JavaScript runtime environment, right? And you should be knowing about it. So that's why I just wanted to tell you about this. Now that I've told you about this, one more thing I wanted to explain here. I have told you that, set timeout doesn't work in which way I or any user want it to work, right? Let's say that I've given 5 seconds for set timeout to work, but set timeout will take much more larger time to get its work done, right? Maybe 10 seconds or 20 seconds, correct? And it happens because of the callback functions, right? So if you have callback functions like this, fetch, it will take some time, right? It will take some time. And also this particular set timeout will also take some 5 seconds, right? And again, if I have some more lines of code, that will take again extra lot of time, correct? But it doesn't mean that within 5 seconds of running the program, your set timeout will work and it will print, right? It will not print. It won't be able to print once everything, the whole program will get executed, and once from the call stack GC will be out, right? After then only your callback functions will be pushed by the help of event loop to the call stack, and then only these callback functions will work, and its printing statement will print. Okay, no matter how much time it is taking, your 5 seconds will not be considered out there. Okay, if the program is really big and if it's taking much more time, your 5 seconds is nothing there. Now this state is also called as concurrency model in JavaScript. Now this is also a very good question in your interviews. People do ask like, can you explain what is concurrency model in JavaScript? So directly concurrency model is aligned with your set timeout ka function, because concurrency model says that your set timeout function is not depending on how much seconds you're giving. It works on depending on how much long your code is, or how much lines it is having, and how much time it will take to execute the code. Okay, that's what is nothing but called as concurrency model in JavaScript. Fine. Now, these words you need to remember, and these words are really, really important for you guys, because you guys are freshers, and these words will, maybe which tutorial you are following, in that tutorial these words will not be there. Maybe which blogs you are following, in the blogs they are using this term, but you do not know about that term, right? And once directly, if some interviewer will ask you about this word, and you will be like, I know all JavaScript, but I don't know about this word. You were knowing about the concept, but you do not know that what it is called as, correct? So these are the two things which I wanted to just explain you. And now I'll be giving some questions to you, so that you can have an idea, or you can give me a solution of it, right? Because you have seen my session. So 1 second, Raju, I'll just check out your comment. Just give me 1 minute. So whatever I have explained to you in the previous session, right? I'll be asking some questions, I'll be writing some programs, and you have to just tell me like how and what output it will give, right? So that's what you need to tell me. Yes, Raju. So, sir, my mind not working for making projects. Help me, I'm stressed. Okay. Projects, I have given already a lot of ideas. You need to just Google it. I don't know why is it problematic for you. Specify any reason so that I can understand your problem much better way. Okay. Maybe you're not understanding the concepts of JavaScript. Maybe you're not being able to apply logics, right? It can be something, right? So please do write it, Raju. Let me know what is the problem so that I can give you a solution. Okay. But meanwhile, I think I have given a lot of 15 or 20 projects I have given idea about, and you have to just Google about it. You have to just see how others have done it and get an idea, and then you have to do on your own, right? So please do let me know what is the problem, right? And let's go ahead and let's try to let me give you some of the questions, and let's ask what it's gonna give. Okay, so let's say console.log. I'm just going to write here begin. I'm struggling to use rules. Which kind of rules? Syntax? Are you talking about syntax? Be free, just explain whatever is the problem. Just put it up, whatever you want to say, just put it up. And I'm going to create a function here. Okay, let's say I'm creating here it as sample. And to this, I'm going to just put up console.log, and I'm going to just say hello. A simple function I've given, right? And here I'm going to just write sample. So this is, it's calling. And here I'm just going to say completed. Okay, now this is one of the program which I've written, and I don't know how it will work. I don't know what will be the output. You need to analyze this program and you need to tell me which particular API will be called, and for this one, for this one, or for this one, and what will be the output of this, right? So just have a look and take some time and just tell me like what will be the output for this, right? And then I'll be able to just try to explain you in just 2 minutes, because I've already done this, so I don't want to waste time. I'll just explain this quickly and then we'll move to another topic. Okay. Anybody? What will be the output for this? It's really easy, guys. There's nothing here. It's very simple. Somu, are you there? Anybody who can give the answer to this? Okay. So basically it is gonna print what? It's gonna print begin, hello, and complete, right? So let's have a look. I'm going to open this up. Okay, thank you for the reply. At least one person has told something. I'm just going to open with live server. And let's go to inspect. This is not the output. It will be there in the console. So yeah, we have begin, hello, and completed. Okay, just the same way how I have written it in the program, and that's how it is giving me. So basically what is happening here, same thing is happening. A normal thing is happening in the call stack. First of all, GC will come. GC will tell that there is a printing a statement. First of all, it's gonna print that, and then it's gonna go to the sample calling, and this function call of sample will be pushed in the call stack. So in the call stack there will be two things now. One will be the sample function and the other will be the GC. So first it needs to complete the sample calling. So it will complete this whole thing. It will print hello, and then once it will close this sample function, then from the call stack sample function will be removed. It will be taken off and only GC will be there. Now GC will come to this line, it will print completed, and once everything is done, it's gonna remove the GC also from the call stack. That's how it's gonna work. But now I'm going to do some changes in this code, and then you have to tell me what will be the output. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to just type here set timeout and creating a function. Okay, now in this function I'm just going to give here, let's say sample1, And here I'm going to give console.log hi with this 5,000. Right now, tell me what will be the output of this. Fast, very fast, because I don't think I've done anything here. I've just added one code which will do something, and the output will change. So I don't know what will be the answer of this. Please do let me know how this will work and what will be the output of this. Okay, anybody, please do let me know what will be the output of this. Yeah, so output will be begin, hello, complete, and then hi. Because begin will go first, then hello, and then completed. Right after completed, hi will come, because that's a 5 second delay which is there. And not only 5 seconds delay, but you need to also understand that this function is not getting called anywhere. Sample one, the function is not getting called by me anywhere. It is a callback function. So this is gonna get registered inside an API a container, and then after 5 seconds it will be going inside the callback queue. And then once event loop will find that the call stack is empty, then event loop will put this callback back into the call stack, so that the code can be executed, and that's when we'll get high. And now what you can observe what I'm doing. So what I'll be doing here is, instead of 5,000, I'm just going to give here 0. So I'm just giving 0 here, and now tell me what will be the answer. So there's no 5 seconds delay now, but instead there is 0 seconds, 0 milliseconds. So what should be the output now? Whether it should be begin, hello, hi, and completed, or it will be begin, hello, completed, and hi. If you have understood the concept by me, your answer will be correct. Okay, so Subrashi is saying begin, hello, hi, completed. Begin, hello, hi, completed, and others are saying same. So the people who are saying same, are you mean to say begin, hello, completed, and hi? Okay, so the answer of this is basically, let me show you in the console directly. So it will be begin, hello, completed, and hi. Okay. Now, what is the reason behind it? Uh, Sabrashi, why is it not begin, hello, hi, and completed? What you have written, right? If anybody had thought that this will go as it is begin, hello, hi, and completed directly in sequence. No, it won't. The answer is begin, hello, completed, and hi. The reason being, please understand, you must be thinking that it is 0 millisecond, so it's not gonna wait, right? It's not gonna wait. It's gonna just print hi, right? But again, understand, I have told you whatever will be there in the call stack, only that code will execute. And this code will never go into that call stack. It will only go into the call stack by using event loop. And by the time the event loop will push this inside the thing, this code will be executed already, right? Because there's a common sense na. If event loop is working, event loop does three things. First thing, that it checks whether the call stack is empty or not. When the call stack will be empty? Only when the whole code is done executing, right? So when the whole code is done executing, then only your call stack will be empty, and then only the callback function will be put up there, right? So once begin, hello, and completed will be written, then only this high will go. No matter what is the milliseconds which you are giving here, right? Event loop will push it into the stack once program completes. That's correct. Okay. So I hope you understood this. Now, one last question and then we are moving into the promises. So not going to call this here. Not going to call this here. Just going to write this here. Okay. Okay, now what will be the answer? Observe this carefully, okay, and then tell. Observe it carefully. Yeah, no problem, Sabrashi. I hope you understood the concept. That really matters. This one. Tell me the answer. See, these all questions. Under think that I'm in interview and I'm asking you. Okay, think like that. When you will think like that, then only if you are in the real situation, if you are in front of interviewer, this is the same way they are going to ask. They're going to just write one question. They're going to do some changes in that one question to confuse you. Now I'm confusing you with this question. So tell me what will be the output of this. Begin completed hello. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Begin completed hello. Fine. That's correct. That's correct. It will begin completed and hello. Again, the same explanation. First begin, and then because this is a function, we know that, but we are not calling this function directly, na? We are not writing sample parenthesis semicolon. We are not doing that. We are calling this function using set timeout, and wherever set timeout will come, it is a callback function. Correct? So once it is a callback function, event loop will come into picture, and event loop will take care about this, right? So we will skip this part because the JS engine will skip this part. It will go first and completed, and then it will come back to hello. So the answer is begin completed and hello. Have a look in the output. Okay, cool. So let's get started with today's session now. This was just some questions which I did not cover it up in the previous sessions. I wanted to cover it up, and now it's the time that we are moving into today's today's topic. Fine. So today's topic is most important. Okay, why is it important? I'll just tell you. Because it's about promises, and I hope you remember promises. I have explained you promises in just simple lines. This one, right? This is the promise function. This is the promise statement, and what is happening here you did not understood, right? So let's do something. First of all, let's create a folder, because that particular portion is just messed up. So just creating a new files. Okay. Ghazi Ali, hello. Why does callback for map and filter not handled by event loop? Ghazi, I have not covered map, filter, and all of higher order functions right till now. Higher order functions, this is third part, right? Yeah. So higher order functions I'm covering up tomorrow at 12 p.m. And once I'll cover those, then only I'll be speaking about those, because right now nobody knows about higher order function, the students who are watching this session. So I do not want to confuse them. Once tomorrow I'll be coming back with high order functions, map, filter, reduce. Then we will talk about that. Okay. Some more doubts. These callbacks are not browser APIs, I guess. No, these callbacks are not browser API. I didn't mention that these callbacks are browser APIs. I mentioned browser APIs are your these things. Where is my code? What is this? Close it. Yeah. My browser APIs, you can see here I have written somewhere. Yeah, these are the browser APIs. Can you see this? The set timeout function, DOM API, fetch, these are the browser APIs. Callbacks are just, see, callbacks are something which are internal. You won't be able to see it. If it is there, then I would be able to show it, right? I could have shown that. but it's all internal. Callbacks and all, these micro task queue, event loop, these all are internal. You won't be able to see those things happening. Okay. Promises. One second, guys, I'm getting confused. Why did I create this? Okay, promises is one of the topic which is really hard to understand. Okay, and this is one of the topic which is most of the time just one or two questions will be asked from here, nothing much. But again, this question will be asked to you. Okay, and it is important. So that's why we need to cover this up, and that's why we are doing this. I'm just going to put up here a script to which I'll be adding a external JavaScript file. We will be writing some more HTML codes here, but baad mein, not now. And let's understand what is promises. Now, to understand promises, we have to understand two things. Okay. First is producing code. Okay. And the next one is consuming code. The best way to explain is this only. Now, there are two things, producing code and consuming code. Producing code is code that can take some time, right? So producing code will take some time, but consuming code is code that must wait for the result. Okay. So this will wait for the result, and this will it will take some time to load. Okay, I will explain you what is producing code and consuming code once I'll write any program, but right now just understand that a promise will have these two things. Okay, a promise will have these two things. Also, a promise will have again two more things, success and failure. Okay, so a promise is that, right? When we promise something to somebody, either it gets success or either it gets failed, right? So we have two things, but these two things are again optional. Okay, that means if suppose you are very sure that it will have success, it's not gonna fail, then don't write failure, don't write the failure part, just have the success part. But if suppose you know that it's gonna fail, then you cannot write success, just write failure part. So both are optional. If you want to write both, write both. If you don't write one of them, that's also fine. Okay, but a promise does talk about these two things. Okay, now when you talk about success, when you talk about the success, then we have one of the function which is my resolve. This is a predefined method, okay, which we have my resolve, and one more method which is my reject, which is for failure, right? So these two functions are used in our programs for to tell what will be happening. Okay, now let's understand in promise what all objects are there. Okay, so we have two objects. First is state and the second is result. State means basically whether something is happening or not, what is the state of the program or the logic, and result is what is the output of the program, what is the output of the logic. Okay, so these are two promise objects. Let's create one program and let's try to understand how this works. Okay, now let's have a look how this works. Let's go to HTML. Let's create a paragraph. Let's say I'm going to put up here Sam. Let's close this. Let's save this. Let's go to the script. Have a look what all things we are going to write here so that you're going to understand how these programs work. Okay, so first of all, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just create a function. Okay, and let's say this is named as my show, and it is having sample as the argument inside it. Okay, and I have document dot get element by id, and in this id I'm going to just put up the samp, which was the paragraph written in html. I'm going to put up in html, and then I'm going to put up here sample. Fine, this is one of the function which I have created, and now we are going to create a variable. So let's say I can't name this. Okay, a promise. A promise is one of the variable which I have created, and this is not only a variable but an object of our promise class. So this promise is a constructor which will have some values. So that's what I'm writing here. This is the syntax of basically the promise. So promise is a predefined function which I'm using. I'm creating an object of it which is named as a promise. You can write any object name. This is just a reference variable to access those. And inside the promise constructor, whatever I'm writing, that is the syntax of putting up the promise. Okay. So in this function, what I'm going to put up here is success and failure. Okay. And I have already told you success and failure is having two names, which is these two. Okay, my resolve and my reject. So this is what we are getting inside my function. Now I'm going to write the function. So let's say I have a variable, right? Let y is 0, and here I'm going to do some things. So I'm going to just write, let's say if y is equal to 0, if the value is 0, then it has to be success, right? So resolve, and inside this I'll be writing a statement which will tell me that if the case is success, then what's going to happen. The next I'm going to put up else, and in this again I'm going to put up my reject, because that is for the failure, that means the error. So in this I want to write, let's say, problem. Okay, so I've written these two things here. Now understand, this whole code is nothing but a promise which I have made, which I've created. So I've made a promise, and the name of that promise is a promise. And in this promise I have two things, either success or failure. I've taken a variable which is named as y equal to 0. The 0 is the value. Now it will compare if y is having the 0 value or not. If it is having 0 value, it will give a success. And you can see already my resolve is a predefined function which is already declared in the JavaScript engine. So it knows that it has to print okay. Otherwise it will print a problem. Okay, if it is not true, the condition is not true, then okay. Now how to call these functions. So what you have to do, the name of the variable, whatever we have taken, dot then. Now do you remember this then we have used somewhere, right? In our code we have used then. Do you remember in fetch we used then? So then means after this what's gonna happen, that is what is then. Okay, so a promise dot then, and here I'm going to write function value. Let's say I am calling this is not that bracket. Let's say I'm calling that function. So what is the function name? My show. So I'm just calling that, and here I'm going to pass this value. Similarly, I'm going to do it again because this was for the value. So comma, and I'm going to put it up here again. This one is for the error. And here same thing, I'm just going to put up error. Okay, so we have written a promise and a then. Function value will only call this value when the condition is true. That means my resolve is directly related with this function and my reject is directly related with this one. If suppose it is saying my reject, it's gonna print problem, and then this function is getting called, this function is getting called, so error, whatever error we have got here, it's gonna go to the sample and it will print that particular message there. Okay, so my reject is just a calling. Okay, so from my show, it's this error, whatever error is it having, the problem is the error which is it is having. So this is going to go to the sample and that's what is getting printed in my console. So let's check out once and let's see what is happening. Okay, if I save this and if I go back to my, I think this is a new web page which I created, right? So let's open it with live server. Right, so have a look. It is giving me an print-in option of okay. If I go to inspect, if I go to sources, Control P, script.js. So there is no work of closure and all. I'm just trying to show you how this call stack is working here for promises. Okay, so that you get an understanding how promises also works inside the code. That's what I'm just trying to show you. So let me go to script.js and let me save this. Okay, now have a look what is happening. So basically in the call stack there's an anonymous, that means the GEC, and the GEC we have the a promise as undefined. Right now it is undefined. As you can see, it's just an object which is getting created for the promise function. Next, it's going to the next part where you can see that already two function is created. Automatically two function is created. One is your my reject and one is your my resolve, correct? But have a look. This time there are two GECs. Can you see? One is here, which is having only a promise. That's a global object, right? That's actually a global object because it's let, and that's why it's coming in script. And this is the another anonymous which is having the another things. Okay, so why it is happening like that, why it is working like that? Because if you look at this, if you look at this code, after this a promise was written, there's a curly bracket here, right? So this part is the global one, this part is the global context. But as soon as you go inside, this now will be a inside global, the inner part, which we also call it as local, right? So now this y equal to 0 is not a function. It's not something that we can write here. That's why it is taking global context object itself, but it's the inner global context object. So inner global context object is having two functions, my reject, my resolve, and y is also there. So if I move ahead, y will become 0. Right, and it'll now compare. Say if y is equal to 0, my resolve will have okay. Right, now let's see what's happening. So if you look here, return value is undefined right now. Okay, and in this anonymous also we have not got anything which is undefined only. Let's move ahead. So we have promise dot then, and now you can see this curly bracket is removed. This is done, this is done. So that is removed from the call stack. That GC is removed from the call stack. Okay. So now we have the promise here. To this promise, we have these three things. We have the promise here. We have all its corresponding components and all, like what promise is having. And then it's just going to call all the functions. So it's calling, it says sample is having okay, because that is what is condition is true, right? In here when it came, it found out that my resolve will have okay output. So sample, in the sample, here in the sample, okay is getting printed, and that's what it's getting printed in the console. So now you can see in the browser we have okay printed, and now it's gonna end. Okay, try to do this in your own system and try to debug, try to see each and every step. You will be able to understand how this is happening. Okay. understanding the logic, understanding the flow of the code is most important, because if you're not understanding the flow, then how will you explain to the interviewer? Okay, so that's one thing you need to focus on. Whatever code you're writing, write it correctly and then explain it correctly in the same sequence. If any calling is happening, that's gonna do first. That's gonna getting called first. You can't just start from here. Execution will not start from here. Execution will start from here, because this is a function, and from the function any execution can't start until and unless you have called that function, and the calling is happening here. So any which ways this is not gonna work in the beginning, correct? So this is how you create a promise, and this is just a normal example which has been given, and we will try to create some more examples, and we'll try to see how that works. Okay, so any doubt till here? Please do let me know if you have any doubts. Otherwise, we'll move to a next problem. So I'm going to comment this, and I'm going to write a very simple code without using promise. Okay, without using any concept of promise, and just have a look how it's gonna change the look of a normal code. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use the set timeout. Okay, and let's say I'm having a function. Let's say inside this I'm calling another function. I'm calling another function which says something. So let's say this message is getting called, right? And now I'll be closing this, and because it's a timeout, so I have to give some value to my milliseconds. This is the set timeout which I've given. Now I'll be writing out the function which I have written already there. Okay, so here I'll be passing out the value, because that's the value which it will take, and also I'm gonna print it. So document.getElement by id, let's say it's gonna have what was the id given there? Samp, and let's say dot inner html, and here I'm going to have value. Okay, now this is a very simple example. There is no promise and all used here, right? And it's a very easy example. Now here what's going to happen, we are using a callback function, right, which is a set timeout. So once this particular function will get called, then what's going to happen, set timeout will automatically call the sample function itself, correct? So that's what we are doing here. Let's check out what should happen. First of all, I'm going to take you to my browser itself, and here can we use hash samp? No, we cannot use hash samp because it's already get element by id. It is asking the id name. So this function get element by id, it's just saying you that get the element which is having the id samp. So here we do not need to put a hashtag. Okay, the hash is used in the css. So when we use id, we need to make sure that we say that this is the id which I'm referring to. So that's why we put the symbol hash there. Okay, for in this case it is already saying that it's an id, so that's why we don't need to put up the hash here. Okay, so let's save this. After 3 seconds we are getting hello good morning, right? Simple code. After 3 seconds we got hello good morning. Now this is using callback. Now what we'll do, we'll try to do the coding using promises. So what changes you have to make here? Let's check out. So here, first of all, you have to create a promise, right? Let me just copy this because it's the same thing. So create a promise. Let's create a promise. Okay. And inside this, we are going to write the same thing, whatever we have written earlier, right? And then we are going to change this statement. So let me see where this curly bracket will get closed, because that's what I am referring to. Okay. Now it's correct. We are closing the bracket. We are closing the curly bracket. Fine. So this is correct. And this one, here, do you remember what we did? This one, right? A promise dot then. So that's what we are going to do here. So let's say a promise dot then, and we are going to give a function here. Name is not required. We are going to give directly a value, and then it's gonna take it. Okay, don't get anybody samp value. Fine. So what is happening, just I've used a promise here, and here I'm not giving the as I told you, you don't have to actually tell what is my resolve and my reject in all of the cases. It's an optional one. So this now I've just given a value. I'm not given the error condition which I gave here, right? I've not given that. This will also give me the same output if you look in the browser. If I save this, 1 2 3, something is wrong. Must have done some error. Yeah, syntax error. Check out where is the bracket missing. Have this bracket, have this bracket, have this one bracket. This bracket is also there. This bracket, from where does this came? Find out where is the mistake. There is some yeah, here this bracket is not closed. 1 second. Okay. Fine, let's move ahead. Let's see. Set timeout की time में. Let me see the number. JS26. Okay. किस टाइम में, कहाँ पे नहीं है? अच्छा, एक सेकेंड. That's fine. Sample. अच्छा, okay, 1 second. 1 second. Line 26. This will not be sample because I've not given any function name. So I'll just write here my resolve. I'm using my resolve for that. Any brackets, any... I'm not being able to find it. Now I guess it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. 1 second. Okay, so it's working. Fine. That was the error. I wrote the sample function. My resolve is the thing which you have to write here, because I've written the value and my resolve function should be used. Here also we did the same thing. We used my resolve and we used the value here, right? For that. Here we also did the coding for error, but in this one we have not used the error coding. Okay. So if I save this, if you look here, after 3 seconds, you're going to get hello, good morning. Fine. This is one of the ways how you can use promise in your code, right? Let's move ahead and let's try to use in the in one of the code where we have used callback again. Okay. So do you remember when I was teaching you callbacks, script.js, if you look here, I did explain you about one of the code where I was using this code, right? So I was using this code to tell you how you can get a file, correct? So that's the same thing what we are going to do now. So I'm going to use the same code. I'm going to copy this, close this. Let's comment this and let's paste it up here. Also, this code will not work right now because my file is not there in that folder, the animations.html. So I'm just going to bring that. But before that, I'm also going to just write here an h1 tag, and I'm just going to write here, welcome to CodeBeyond. Fine. Let's save this. I also have to put up the folder. Let me just do that. Well, web development project. क्लोजर्स के अंदर नहीं था, callbacks के अंदर था. Okay, removing the image from there, and this is what folder? This is the promises folder. Let's keep it here. So I think now you'll be able to see this. You can see here in the promises there is an animation.html. Okay, now let's save this and let's observe whether I'm getting the page or not. Any error? यार बहुत एरर आ रहा है आज. सेकंड पेज नहीं आ रहा है, क्या प्रॉब्लम है? फंक्शन, क्या फंक्शन चेंज कर दिया मैंने? व्हाट मिस्टेक आई हैव डन? माई शो का फंक्शन कुछ कमेंट नहीं लगा है क्या? माई शो, अच्छा मैंने पूरा कोड ही कॉपी नहीं किया. एक सेकेंड. या दिस कोड इज ऑल्सो देयर ना. ये कोड कॉपी नहीं हुआ था. ओके, माई शो का कोड मिल गया. लेट्स क्लोज दिस, लेट्स सेव दिस, लेट्स गो बैक. अभी चेक करते हैं. अच्छा स्क्रीन नहीं दिख रहा है क्या? This my show function was not there. That's what I've written now. Let's save this. Let's check out again. Some error is there. Typing error. Cannot set properties of null setting inner HTML equal to sample. Anybody can find any error here? As you can see, some error I'm getting here, right? Cannot set properties of null setting in HTML. There should be some mistake which I have done, some silly mistakes. Have a look at the code. I'm gonna search here. So 33rd line, there is something mistake. Yeah, this is the mistake. So it's nothing but stamp. Let's save this. I should have got it now. Yeah, I'm getting it. Okay. So I'm getting this, I'm getting the another web page inside my current web page, right? This is my current web page and I'm getting another web page inside this. This was getting a file, right? Any kind of file you can get it using this code, HTTP request, correct? So that's what was the code using a normal callback function, right? Now we are going to change this using our promises. Fine. So how we're going to change this using promises? We'll use the same thing. We are going to use the same commands and same statements. So let's copy this, my resolve and my reject. I'm going to just put it up here. Okay, let's have a look how I'm doing this, because I've done the same way in here also, right? So wherever is a callback function, just above that you have to do this, and you have to cover this whole callback function inside that. Okay, so here also I have this callback function and I have to cover this whole with this a promise thing. Okay, so Rest of the things will be same. Now I don't need this, so I'll just comment this part. I have already created one of the function. So this function name I will not give. The same thing I did here also. Already I was not creating any functions. I gave my resolve here. Same thing I've done here. And now open onload function. This function will not be having any name. You can see here my callback I've given here. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this. So my callback I'm going to remove, and I'm going to just write here my resolve. The first one will be a resolve because that's a situation when you will get the response, but this is an error situation. So here I'm going to put up reject. Okay. So both the things are done. I think now my problem is in the curly brackets. I need to see where the curly brackets will get closed. So let's just check out where it will get closed. req.send is fine because that's a HTTP request which is getting executed. Here, this bracket is there, right? This bracket. So this bracket I need to close up here and I need to put a semicolon. Okay. Now this function is done. I need to write up this, right? I need to write up this. So I'll do something because I have both the things. I have the value also, I have the error also. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to put up here. Okay. And going to uncomment this. So a promise dot then function value. The function name is my show. So it's going to work. It's going to work. Let's check out. Let's go to the, let's save it. And you can see here, it's still working. Okay. So this is how you can use your promise in your callback functions. Promises will be always used in callback functions because callback function will only be able to give you the errors or any success. Okay. Hi Ghaziali, aren't parameters to a function has block scope? Parameters to a function. So if you look here, if you're declaring any function and inside that if you have the parameter, right? Let's say that if you're creating any function and it will have its parameter, aren't parameter to function has a block scope? No. So block scope is something which is this part. If you can see here, this curly bracket and this curly bracket, this is one block scope inside which we have the code written, right? Now in JavaScript, if suppose you are passing an argument as a function, right? Understand, if in a function you are passing an argument as a function, then that will be a block scope. Okay. But here what I'm doing, I'm just writing value, right? So it will just contain the value. So here there's no meaning of block scope, but this function is having a block scope. Okay. Not the parameter. In the argument, when you're passing the total function itself, when you're writing the whole function itself, you can do that in JavaScript. And I've showed you in multiple times in callback. Then they will have the block scope, right? Because they have the curly brackets. 1 second, I'm not showing the code. Yeah, this is the block scope. Okay. Fine. So that was all about promises. This was all about promises. Now let's understand what is async and await. So we have next thing which is async and await. It's the same thing like promises. There's only one change that instead of writing the whole code of promises, you can just write async or await. Async means when you want the output. Await means when you want to wait for the output. I'll tell you what is this soon. So async basically makes a function return a promise. Okay. And await makes a function wait for a promise. Okay. These are just keywords which can be replaced by the code. Okay, if a big code is written, you can replace those codes by just async and await. So let's just apply it in one of the programs and let's try to do it. So here in the beginning, we did write one of the code, right? So let's try to do this in this itself. We have here a document given by ID samp. So I'm going to just uncomment this so that you can see the code. And here what we did was we created the promise function, correct? And we also have the a promise dot then thing. So here what I'm going to do is async is, again, what is it used for? Async is used before a function that makes the function return a promise, correct? So already we don't have to write this, we don't have to create this. Async is used when inside a function when you want to return a promise. So we need to use this async inside a function first of all. So what you do, we have to create a function. So let's say this I will keep, and I'll create a function. Let's say I'm creating a function, and let's say I'm saying this function name as sample. Okay, and this is gonna return good morning. Okay, so now as you can see, a promise then and then my show sample I've already given here as the name, right? So let me give something else here. Let's say code. We can't use this. Let's say display. Fine. So here what I'm going to do, we have the my show, we have the value, we have the error. Here instead of a promise, we are going to write display dot then, and because async is used in front of function, we are going to do this. So again explaining async, what is it? It is used to make a function return a promise. So this is a function which I've used in which I've used async. So it's going to return the promise. Okay, so there is a error value also to this, and there is a perfect value also to this, and this is how it will get printed. So first of all, how it's going to work, display dot then function value it's going to call, and here in the display we have good morning. So that's how it's gonna take up. Let's move to the, one second, is it not saved yet? Acha, I've not removed the code now. One second. Okay, so have a look. It is printing good morning. Don't worry about the welcome to CodeBeyond. That was already there in the HTML page. Okay, and have a look in the code. So we have written function myShow. This function myShow is only to print that particular sample output in your samp ID, that is the paragraph. This sample value, from where is it coming? From myShow, from here, right? This value is containing what? This value is containing the good morning. So when you know that which particular promise is gonna getting returned, then you use async directly. You don't write this whole code. You don't create a promise or any kind of object for the promise. When you know already that one function is giving me a promise, when you already know that it's gonna give something, then you do not have to create an object. You can directly write async keyword to it, and it will return something. That value will come here and it's gonna print out. Okay, what will happen if I keep it empty? So you are not going to do it anything. You can see here. Okay, it's just taking the empty space, that's it. Right, so that is where you use async in your program. Now let's talk about await. So await, as you can see, makes a function wait for a promise. So it's not gonna print up it's not going to take up all the value. It's not going to take up or return the value, but it's going to make your function wait for a promise. Okay. Now how to write a code for this? So let's check out. We have async function display here, and to this we are going to create a variable. Okay. So now what we are doing is we are making async function display. We are saying we are creating an object inside this async function. Always remember, await will be used with async. Await will be used with async itself. It can't be used alone. Okay. And here I'm using let, one second. Not only with, but inside. Okay, so inside async await will be used, and we are using async function display let a promise new, the whole statement, and here I'm going to put up the resolving part. So let's say I'm going to put up my resolve, and I'm just going to print something. So let's say I'm printing here good night. Okay, let's close this. I think there are some more things which should be closed. So there should be this bracket which should be closed. And now let's this part to print it up. So document.getID samp.init.html. Now we need to print this. So we are waiting for the output. So here we need to use await. Await dot, no, await. Await, the keyword is used, and then the a promise, which is my code here, which is my variable here, because this particular variable will be having the value which is good night. So it's gonna wait for the response and then it's gonna print it. Now we don't need this code because we are already printing it up. Here we are not using any extra function which is my show to do that. So also we do not use this, we do not need this code right now because we are not using any other function. Okay, now this is a most smallest code using your promise, using async, using promise, using await, and this is how you should be using your promises code in your program. Why do we use promises code in our program? To understand whether a program will give an error or a solution. So if it will give a solution, it's gonna print everything. It's like an error finding thing. We also have seen exceptions, right? The same way, but in exception we handle it. In here we check it whether the output will be a error or will be a success or a failure. That's what we do, and that's how we actually write the code for promise. Also in the previous example, if you have seen fetch, right, we have explained about fetch, and we have seen that if the condition is true then do this, otherwise do the else part, right? The same way how if and then works, the same way promise also works. If the condition is correct, it's going to be a success, otherwise it's going to be a failure. So here we need to call one of the function which is display, because if the display function is not called, this is not going to get called, right? So I'm just using display, this is going to get called, and I'm using my resolve. Let's see whether I'm getting the output or not. So here, if you can see, you are getting good night. Okay, again, here when you're coming to the code, either you use my resolve or you just use resolve and reject, it will work. But try to use my resolve itself, because that's the most correct way of using your promises there. Okay, so this is what is all about async and await. This is the only small topic, so that's why I told you that only 2 questions will be asked from here, that what is the difference between async and await, and why do we use promises in JavaScript. Okay, but this is not a very big topic, it's not gonna be very important for you. Okay, fine. So this was all about promises. Now let's move to DOM. Okay, now DOM is basically document object model, HTML DOM basically, and we are going to talk about how JavaScript is working with HTML DOM. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Let's do one thing. let's do it tomorrow at 12 p.m. right? The HTML DOM, because right now we have covered HTML DOM will be a separate topic. HTML DOM will not be related with callbacks, promises, or anything else. So let's not confuse you. Right now, promises was combined with callback, and that's why I tried to finish this up. So this is now finished. Now in the next session, which is tomorrow at 12 p.m., we are going to start up with our DOM, HTML DOM topic first of all, and then we are going to move to the topics of currying and other topics, okay, other modern JavaScript topics. So we have 2 more topics on advanced JavaScript. I'm just going to tell you what all things are there upcoming. So 2 more sessions will be there on advanced JavaScript. One will be part 4 and one will be part 5. Then there will be 2 sessions on projects, JavaScript projects, and then we'll be covering tips and tricks on how to crack interview. That will be a non-technical session, which I'll be doing tomorrow 9 p.m. So please join that as well. Okay. So we'll finish this session here itself, and tomorrow 12 p.m. we are going to come back and understand HTML DOM with currying and other topics. Okay. So please join tomorrow's session at 12 p.m. Maybe here and there slight changes can happen. So keep an eye on the playlist. Whatever is there, you will get a notification there then that when I'm coming live. Okay. So you'll get a idea there when it's going to get started. Any doubts still here, please do let me know, because we have covered the important topics. We have covered all the important topics. Only one topic is left, high order functions in this case. So in this advanced JavaScript, so high order functions के बाद हम लोग currying और वो सब part करेंगे. So map, filter और reduce जो ये 3 methods हैं, we are going to discuss that tomorrow at 12 p.m. and also HTML DOM. And then we are going to move to currying and other topics. Fine. So don't worry, we are going to cover everything. It's just that you keep on watching the sessions. These are getting recorded and put it in the playlist so that you don't miss it up. So go ahead, and if you have not understand anything, go ahead and rewatch the videos again and again so that you get an idea how this was explained. Okay, if you have not got any particular concept. So go to the Telegram channel and please join it so that you get a notifications and everything about the educators and when they are coming live, at what time, with what topic. All of those updates and notifications will be given to you in the Telegram channel. So please join the Telegram channel. The link is in the description below. Okay. Also, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is CodeBeyond, and also hit the notification bell so that you get an update on each and every notifications when we are coming live, which educator is coming live in the YouTube app as well. Okay. Please like and share so that more and more number of people will be able to get to know about these sessions, and they'll be able to know that these sessions are going out for free, right? Thank you so much, guys. I'll meet you really soon, which is tomorrow at 12 p.m. So do not forget to join the sessions, and tomorrow it will be a long session, maybe 2 to 3 hours. We are going to talk about HTML DOM and a lot of things which will be used in the JS projects, right? So don't miss out on that, and call other friends also tomorrow so that they can also learn about it. Okay.